I'm Gentleman Josh Hill.
I'm Aaron Jeffrey.
I'm Johnson Jazz Busiest.
I'm Mike Malott.
I'm Raffian Stock.
Tune into
Donttap.
Donttap podcast.
podcast.
Hey, I'm UFC President Dana White, and you're in the ring with Callum McGregor.
You need to start listening to those fucking Canadians. Although I was with you on Bash Ride as far as the decision, it was still like I put out that spread play for a reason because I thought he'd at least steal a round and
definitely stole around.
Level checked once. He started pushing on. He just sort of started to fade. He wasn't really a threat. Wasn't hitting his volume, and you could see that Zabi was landing. And even they were sort of playing up the coaches, yelling it out and stuff. But Zabi was landing pretty regularly and pretty often. So pretty awesome.
It was actually pretty interesting.
Plus 560 hit or whatever the hell it was.
He was very aggressive in that first round. Way different than how Bash Ride usually fights. But shout out to Zahabi though, being undervalued again.
But yeah, no, it's still all in all though a pretty solid card as far as spots. I mean, I know we went back and forth on Petrino. Really, I'm not going to give myself a big pat on the back with that one, only because he didn't really get to his wrestling, right? Like the wrestling really wasn't the thing that played the factor in that one. But what was one of your bigger spots of the weekend?
Shouts to Lolik, man. Lolik cashed first dog of the night. That was really the staple of the weekend. Shouts to Mikhaev, though. Mikhaev cashed in some parlays for us. That was like the last leg for some parlays for me. And all in all, from a watchability perspective, I think it was the most entertaining card of the year. I mean, that Vinicius, Oliveira, and Sopaj fight was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was that's like when Josh Emmett hit Bryce Mitchell. It was like that. I know it's a knee, but it's just that the way that he drops, how loud it was. It's like a baseball crack, like a mobster just hit you in fucking kneecaps, put you over the head and dropped you in an alley somewhere. But yeah, just absolutely crazy. Really solid card. One of those cards that sort of comes out of nowhere. A card that everybody was like, I don't know. And sure enough, it performs. And that's the beauty of MMA. So we got to love that. Just finished the podcast for Couch versus the Coach with none other than Jason Anik going up against Mike Malott. They went head-to-head in a little bit of a bromance. I sort of used each other to get them both on the podcast together because Malott's a fan of Jason and loves his support, and Jason a huge fan of Mike Malott. So they went head-to-head. Mike cleared the board last week with 5 points on Couch versus the Coach. He hits the Zahabi line, and I mean, it was just simply with the fact that he just felt it was just disrespectful. There was a level check situation there. I'm not going to go back down that route, but Couch versus the Coach, pretty good success last week as we move forward, and we will get you on. But I will joke about it right now. You got bumped by Jason Anik, and who better than commentating royalty or brother to? He even made a joke himself about the coattails of John. So, but yeah. Let's dig into this card, UFC 299. Anybody who listens to the Donttap podcast already knows where you lie in the main event. They already know your boy. They already know the Sugar Show. Mike Malott's all over him too, the Happy Dad connection and all this. I'm with you guys too, though. I see it 100%. We'll dig into that as well, and I know that's going to be a spot for you. If it is the lead spot, then I sort of blew it up a little bit, but what's your first one you're going to drop for UFC 299?
Let's talk about the main event here. There's a lot of ways to get on Sean O'Malley here. You can parlay him up, but I'm looking at Sean O'Malley to win and fight to start round 2 here. A little bit chalkier than what I like giving out at -200, but it's just the way I see the fight going. Cheeto's somewhat of a slow starter. It might not be the case here in this one. Two guys that don't really like each other, but when you look at it from a broad view perspective, from the talent in the bantamweight division, Cheeto's kind of getting gifted. This is a very WWE type of style of a fight. He's getting kind of gifted a title shot despite not really under regular circumstances in the UFC. He hasn't done anything really too spectacular in his last couple of fights. Not doubting Cheeto at all. Very durable, tough, gritty guy. But this is Sean O'Malley's gotten a lot better since then. I think Cheeto's still the same fighter. I think Sean O'Malley styles on him. This fight set up like this for a reason. It's going to be two strikers fighting on the feet for a majority of the time. I don't see any grappling, but I think they've layered this fight card the way they did for a reason, because out of Sean O'Malley's title run, this might be one of the more boring fights.
Now with this one, yeah, it definitely could. I could see it roll that way and roll over, and we're going into the, people are like, is it going to make a decision, and it does, because O'Malley sort of points him and plays maybe a safer play, on the outside. But what do you say your pick was as far as the play?
O'Malley to win and fight to start round 2 at -200 here.
Got it. Beautiful. I like that. That's a good combination. Yeah, I mean, I just sort of talked to him a lot about this one, and it was just, for me, this is an adjustment thing. One adjustment needs to be made by O'Malley. O'Malley was doing well in that last fight, and this stylistic matchup is absolutely brutal. Although Chito Vera's style has got him to where he is today, this matchup for him it's just not good. He marches forward in more of a Muay Thai style. He does fight long, but like just the way he plots forward, right? And he's very, very powerful with his kicks. Everything has something on it. He's looking to put you out there. But the idea is, it's just the volume hasn't been there in the past. He's a slow starter, like you said, but it's just this matchup just isn't good. And all O'Malley really has to do is answer the leg kick, in my opinion. I think on the cage, O'Malley's slick as fuck. I think, if we're looking at him on the ground, although Chito Vera is really solid on the ground too, I think it's a stalemate, and it ends up back on the feet. And when it ends up back on the feet, I'm just gonna look at O'Malley in this one. I was looking at a parlay. I haven't put together my 2-piece yet, and I haven't put up my plays officially yet. I may just hold off on my own personal parlay, and we'll just put one together today. I did want to have O'Malley as a piece, because I think that's the way I wanted to approach him this week. But I do like what you did there. I'm feeling really strong about O'Malley in this one. I do like the fight starts round 2 with O'Malley as a piece in a same game parlay. Good way to approach it. So definitely, yeah, I'm with you on this, and then everybody who's been on the Donttap podcast this week also does. So I'm going to bring my first spot to the table. Man, I realize I'm pretty dog heavy this week. I'm all dogs. I do have a prop out there for Miss Young Macy Barber, and we'll talk about that at the end as a little sprinkle at the end. But I'm going to start off with Song Yadong. He's just my play this week at plus 105. Oh, no, actually plus 115 at Pinnacle, which is somewhere we can still get up in Ontario. I try to at least play off lines that we can get in Ontario, not ones that are just in the States, because then, it's sort of misses some of the fan base. But the reality is that plus 115, the first thing that I want to address is it's not just Song Yadong that I'm going to even look at. I'm looking at Team Alpha Male. Team Alpha Male is prepared for this man like 4 or 5 times, and it's ridiculous. It's crazy. Like, they've gone through game plans, they've broken it down, they've been successful against him. He's on a slide, and Song Yadong's on a rise. Stylistically, the way this matches up, I think Song Yadong's boxing's pretty crisp. I think, although I think obviously we're looking at Petr Yan, he is going to be the striker with more options. I mean, Yadong has good kicks, but I think, as far as the sort of Muay Thai plotting style with his kicks, I think Petr Yan is definitely a threat. But he's also probably going to be aggressive. Everybody I've talked to this week has said he's going to have a chip on his shoulder in this fight. I think one that you want to do if you want to be a real degen, I always do it on Petr Yan fights, but I think it might hit this one. Point deduction, but we'll leave that there. Petr Yan, if you're looking at it, if he does march forward, you're going to have an ever-proving Song Yadong wrestling that's going to grab him, take him down to the mat, and I think he's actually going to be able to, I'm not even looking at Petr Yan's takedown defense in this one. I think Song Yadong is going to get to him at least 2 or 3 times and take him down if that's where the fight goes, if he's not having success on the feet. So for me, I just think that when you have a really sharp team that's already game planned for this guy so many times, Song Yadong at plus 115, it just feels like I would have taken him at the money line play if he was just a little bit more like a minus 115 or minus 120. I get that it's a level up, but Petr Yan just not, split decisions, just not. He's not where he was. It's an unfortunate slide. The champion, he needs a guy in a rule that's about to change. He needs a guy to the face who played on the rule, who wins the belt and runs with it. It's pretty shitty because Petr Yan is that good. But unfortunately, I think Song Yadong gets his hand raised here for Yan anyway. And for our tickets and for people who tail, Song Yadong's the play. Plus 115 Pinnacle.
Yeah, man, I'm right there with you. The only thing is sometimes Song Yadong's fights are just really close. I just feel like in a weird parallel universe, I'm kind of underestimating Petr Yan here in this spot. A lot of his recent fights have been against grapplers. This is going to be a striker versus striker matchup, and that kind of favors more of a Peter Yan type of fight. But Song Yadong to win by decision at plus 200 is speaking to my soul.
That's not bad either. And if you are someone who, listen to both of us talk, are really on Song Yadong, that might be a way to play it if you want to play him money line and then even hit the profit decision. That's if you're really into him as a play and you see him as an angle. Okay, so I'm glad you see the side on that. But I'm not going to degrade somebody at that level, because even after a skid, someone can bounce back and have a huge run. So we'll see what happens with it. But I just think stylistically, if Yadong gets to the wrestling, and I think he will, I just think it's a wrap. And if you look at it, it's like Team Alpha Male has played that game. They've gone to the wrestling. That's their strategy. And it's not just because they're known for it and that's the gimmick. It's like you see it in fights with their guys. I'm trying to think of a dog I hit a little while ago. It'll come back to me in a minute. But yeah, anyways. So what's your next spot on the table?
Second spot here, we're going to stay on the main card here. I'm taking the debutante here, man. I'm taking Michael Venom Page over Kevin Holland here. In a weird way, man, I have a really good read on Kevin Holland fights, and he never fights to his optimal strategy. When he fights a grappler, he'll grapple, and his grappling is really good, and it's underrated. If he could go out here and grapple against Michael Venom Page, I think there would be a way different layer of this type of fight. But this is not what the matchmakers want to see is Kevin Holland wrestle. They want to see these two boys strike it out on the feet. And if that's the case that we're getting, I think could be a fight that kind of favors Michael Venom Page. Kevin Holland, granted, he isn't going to have the same striking advantages that he usually has in his fights, but I feel like he's being underestimated here in this spot because he's coming from a different promotion and it's not the same level of competition as the UFC. We're getting dog prices here on Michael Venom Page, but he's a great guy. This is a great type of stylistic matchup for him to really get a win and move himself up the ranks. And I think the UFC is going to cash in on their signing. Kevin Holland's a burnable name here.
Came really close to putting this on the ticket, but I'm definitely going to be on the side with you on this one. Kevin Holland is someone who I feel the same way. I think I got a good gauge on him because I've invested my time and my thought process into all of his fights and how he's approached them, and even beyond the fight IQ situation. It's not even that it's fight IQ; it's just choice. He makes choices because he doesn't. I mean, as long as he makes money for his shoes, I think that's one of his biggest things. I know that sounds horrible, but the man wants the cash. And he's proven that, right? And I know that there's the competitor in him and he wants to win, not to disrespect that, but I haven't seen it lately, right? He's made choices and he's been in fights where I think he's made it harder for himself. His striking, I noticed in the last fight against Jack Della Maddalena, man, he's very hittable. He's very hittable and has bad habits even. Although he's a great hammer when it comes to it. And I'm not saying he's a bad nail. Like, he's a great hammer with the strikes and he can set something up to knock you the fuck out. But he's hittable, man. And he has bad habits, the way he raises up the leg, but he doesn't use it like Strickland does. There's just ways that I think a Venom Page can time him. I think if they're going to be on the feet, it's really bad. And I can't bank on Kevin Holland going to the ground. Done it already. I'm not playing the game anymore. Yeah, that's also why I might stay off it just in case he wants to do it just to save face, because Venom Page is walking in the door and he wants to shut it on him. Same time, I think he stays on the feet. I think even if Holland does try to take it down once or twice, I think Venom Page is at least good enough to get back to the feet. And I think he might style on him on this one. So I'm with you on that one. I think Venom Page is the side. Yeah, so my next spot I'm going to bring to the table, actually, speaking about Jack Della Maddalena, I'm going to take Gilbert Burns. That's got to be my dog on this one. I think Gilbert Burns is a little undervalued in this one. I think although there's a huge hype train behind Jack Della Maddalena, I'm sorry, like, I just can't get Hafez out of my head. I can't get that fight out of my head. I can't get the fact that he was taken down and it just looked really bad. And I get it. Mike Malott even brought up the fact that, he had already had a booked opponent. He had cut weight the week prior. It was rescheduled. He went into that fight and it was a little bit sloppy. But then against Kevin Holland, it was a sparring match. And I think that Gilbert Burns presents enough power on the feet. He's not going to be technically as sound, but we have a sort of situation that we had with, talking about Zahabi last week. You have power with lower volume on one end against a more of a pinpoint, striker on the other end. Although Maddalena does have a little more finishing upside in this situation on the feet. I just think that if you take this to the ground, it's not even close. And that's where the huge disparity is in this game. And I normally don't look at it that way, but I think there's enough problems in on the feet by Burns that if you can get this to the ground, it's really a wrap. I think he can really actually finish this fight. Like, although Maddalena was on short, like whatever it was with his weight cut and everything else, had to reschedule. I just don't. I see value in the plus 135 line. So I think that whether you get it around, it's like plus 115 to plus 135. Gilbert Burns, I just think there's a levels thing here right now. This could be a level check. I think that we almost saw a Jack level check. I don't know what happened in the Holland. Like, I don't know what did you think of the Holland fight? I don't know what that was. I get it when you have two guys that are really good and they sort of respect each other, and it looks like it's a sparring match because they can't really quite figure it out. But they just didn't pull the trigger either of them that fight.
It felt like they paid Kevin Holland to say, don't wrestle with this guy, strike on the feet. And that's exactly what happened. But I'm actually looking at a time prop in this one. I like fight to start round 3 at minus 120. I think we could see this one hitting the judges' scorecards, in my opinion.
I like that one too. I think, Burns pretty durable. So even if Maddalena lands the big shot, I think that he'd be able to be a little bit more durable with that. So.
And even if you're on the Gilbert Burns side, him to win by decision at plus 470. I mean, how wrong can you be? Like,
damn,
5-1.
You got me on, like, I'm pretty heavy on both my spots, and the fact that you're showing me those decisions, I sort of like both those decisions. Like, I'd like it to maybe go to decision. So I really like what you're throwing out there.
Jack at plus 300 to win by decision. I feel like the decision price tags on this fight are way too high for these two. But
do you think last week maybe has something to do with that, or like what?
No, the worry here for Jack Dale and Maddalena is he's like he reminds you of Mozart Evilov in a way of, like, not the same fighting style, but that one bad thing that they always do. They always find themselves in some type of submission attempt, like on the back end, receiving end of it. And if you do that against Gilbert Burns, you might get tapped out.
100%. And or even he'll posture up and gain advantageous position and land an elbow in your face. Like, he's power, man. And Killcliff FC, like that gym is just absolutely crazy. Like, people are flocking to it. People are migrating to that gym. That really has become one of the gyms. So for me, I just think, it's a spot. So Gilbert Burns, I mentioned durability, and we're going to reference durability later on because I got more insight and I feel way better about my biggest dog of the week moving forward. But you bring your next spot to the table, sir.
Yeah, third and final spot for me this week. Going with another dog shot here. This one on the prelims here. I like Felipe Lins here against Ian Cutelaba. This is a rescheduled match. Felipe Lins ended up pulling out the last time, but this fight's scheduled way many months later. But still, regardless, the cap's the same. Felipe Lins moving down to light heavyweight. He's looked a lot better. I believe 3-0 since he's gone down the weight class, and I think he keeps the good times rolling here this weekend. Ian Cutelaba, always kind of somewhat of a fraud type of guy for me. I think that Felipe Lins has the finishing ability to get this job done early, and if this does hit the judges' scorecards, I think that Felipe Lins could be up just off of damage alone.
Yeah, I think we've chopped this one up already before it was rescheduled, and I think I'm with you on the side with Lins and the fact that you get him at plus 105. I'm with it. I think Cutelaba has more of this vividness. Like, I know I always bring up the Jimmy the Bag thing, but it's they just think Cutelaba, and it's like, okay, so let's give him the favorite. I know was he coming off a win? I didn't even check because I haven't looked into this fight. I can't remember his last fight if he had come off a win, but he's a gas tank. He's a gas tank issue, and we know that, and that's just evident every time he fights. Philip Lins has been able to go longer in fights, been able to go the distance. Philip Lins is more well-rounded, but at the same time, it's like, I think both guys have similar styles in the sense that both guys can grapple heavy. Both guys then also present really big power, but Lins presents cleaner power. And I think he's going to be able to hit the cleaner strikes, be able to get to the chin a little bit quicker. So I'm with you on that. I like the spot. Lins maybe even might go into like a nice little prelim parlay that I might throw out on an IG after the fact as well too. I think that's one of those spots that I think he may even just make it look really wide, to be honest.
Yeah,
I watched Cutelaba come out like Wolverine.
Props wise, it could definitely eye up a Felipe Lins in round 2 or 3 here.
Got it. Okay, so yeah, good spots. I'm gonna come with my last spot, and right now actually you can be had at plus 190 right now at Pinnacle. You know me, and this is one of the spots that I think people know me as. I'm gonna go with the vet. until they prove me different. There's questions on Dustin Poirier's durability. There's questions on whether or not he still wants to be in it. If you're betting on facts, whether or not someone still wants to be in it based on money, you can't go on that shit. That's just batshit crazy. When Mike was talking about the idea of durability, it's like, and I was about to say the same point, and he jumped in and said it ahead of me. It's like a head kick has nothing to do with durability. If you get a shin to the head, you're going to sleep more often than not, unless you are super durable like Dan Hooker, right? Like, unless you're him, you're Superman, most humans are going to go to sleep when they get kicked in the head. Before that, Dustin Poirier hasn't been knocked out. So it's been like way, 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 way back the last time he was knocked out. And if we look at it, Dustin Poirier, I don't know, on the feet, I just think that against Saint Denis, his hands are there. I'm not worried about the level here. I think Saint Denis actually on the feet, if it stays on the feet, it'll end up being Poirier just landing at will. At one point, it's going to look like Zaleski Santos. I know that was up a weight class, but I just think on the feet, this isn't even close. I think he looked really good with that big head kick knockout. He does have some good stand-up. His military thing scares me. I saw some of the embeddeds. I know he's just a scary fucking dude shooting targets with his wife and just crazy. Like, there is a lot to him. There's mystique to him. But if you talk to me about him a year ago, nobody was on him. Everybody was fading him because of the Zaleski DeSantos fight. So for me, you're going to tell me that Dustin Poirier, and I'm not saying you, is not worth a plus 190 value at this price tag. I can't do it, man. The one thing for me is if Saint Denis really invests in the ground game and does get him up against the cage and take him down, we know that is the one thing that Dustin Poirier is going to be a clink in the armor. I'm not going to bet on Saint Denis thinking that he's going to knock him out. That's just, if you're betting on that, you're like, it's just not the way to do it. If you're on the Saint Denis side, it's because he might get a submission, and you would even chase that submission prop as well too. But for me, I'm going to go with Dustin Poirier. I think there's too much value. Plus 190, one of my favorite fighters, sure, call it. But at the same time, he deserves this respect. I think I'm gonna jump all over this line because I think it's just a little bit inflated. And when I see inflated lines on bets, I'm going to take the price tag.
Yeah, this is one where I'm just gonna pass and enjoy this one as a fan. Not the strongest read on this fight, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I get it. There's a lot of people that are sort of unclear because, what if he really is checked out in his head? But I mean, at the same time, it's like
it's not even that. It's more of a price tag thing. I mean, the price tag's a little bit whacked for Saint Denis, but if this was a pick'em, I probably would be slim in Saint Denis. So I guess that's the reason why it's at minus 215, because they're kind of hoping that the public kind of throws us in a couple of parlays or something like that. Or they can also get some underdog money here with Dustin Poirier. So kind of want to see how the market kind of translates for this one. Weird fight, to be honest with you, in my opinion. It's hard. It's
I get
like,
to stay on.
yeah, the level part of it tells me Dustin Poirier is the side, but trending in the right direction wise, I mean, Saint Denis, this is the coveted. You get paid by the UFC. And you're like, fuck it, I already got paid now. And then you end up taking a loss against a guy that's hungry for your ranking. It happens all the time in this sport.
Yeah, for me, it's about the plus money, man. I just think that it's a little bit crazy. When the line's that wide, that's where I've been. That's sort of been like, I just got to get off the fucking horse with this and just say it. I've been doing this for plus 2 years. I can call myself a capper in MMA. This is my style. That's one of my things that I hit pretty regularly. It's at this point in time, and I get burnt on some of them where you have a surging talent that comes up and smashes and destroys the person. But this is just a Kyle Nelson moment for me. This is like, you know what I mean? Like, this is what it feels like to me. It's a levels thing. And I feel more stupid if I stay off it or was on the other side of it. Me personally, because of how I think and the way that I sort of bet. And then Poirier just goes out and just schools him, and I'm not on that ticket. It would just piss me off. So I just think I got to make it a play this week. I think it's the dog of the week. And I mean, for me to have 3 pieces at plus money like that, I mean, one of them hits, I'm happy. 2 of them hit, I'm very happy. If all 3 hit, then fuck, let's roll. And I'm good to go. So besides that, we can get into the little bit of sprinkles of other plays if you want to talk about anything else that you were looking at. But yeah. Dustin Poirier, and I get to stay off, but I'm going to go with sort of my system play that I sort of run. So
I don't blame you. DP is one of my actual favorite, just like fan favorite fighters, and one of my favorite fighters to bet on. So it's the reason why I got to stay off here. I feel like I'm a little bit biased. Hopefully, what are your thoughts on this game, Rafael dos Anjos fight?
Stay off. I'm staying away. I'm
Staying
staying away
away?
because
The price
Dos
tag on
Anjos is somebody who I've backed pretty regularly, and I love his style, and it wins fights, and he is a valuable dog. But Gamrot's possibly not like he's possibly the worst matchup. Like if it stays on the feet, I think, and they don't really grapple that much. I think Dos Anjos has a fair shot. But I mean, Gamrot's just that good, man. He can land big shots on the feet, and he also his grappling's just fucking dirty. So just the way this goes, the way that Dos Anjos wins fights is by grinding on guys, and I don't know if he's going to get to grind on him. So, I mean, I may have just given you your answer there. How I feel about it, probably Gamrot, but I'm going to stay off it just because I've backed Dos Anjos and sort of been on the right side of his fights most of the time, but I'm staying away from this one.
Yeah, this could just be one of those ones where Gamrot's just a more athletic, just quicker to the punch type of guy, regardless of the skill between the two fighters.
I'm going to throw out one. I know you love her too, and you backed her pretty big. A little bit chalky this week at about -200 you can get her at, but Macy Barber. I just think against, and I'm not going to say her new married name because I can't pronounce it yet, so I'm going to go with Caitlin Chukagian. I get 1 week's grace with this. I'm just going to say that Macy Barber is going to win probably by decision. Chukagian pretty durable, stays on the outside and might try to point fight her, but I think you're going to see a Macy Barber crash the pocket with power, have bigger moments, maybe not as much volume. But if she goes to the wrestling and wants to get 1 or 2 takedowns in the fight too, I just see her sort of being the more aggressive person. She's turned a corner. She's really aggressive. And I've been backing her for a while. It's an ROI thing too, and I know that you've been backing Barber as well too. Team Alpha Male they've had a pretty good run lately. Their record's been pretty solid as of late. So I'm going to go with Macy Barber. I don't even know if she's at Alpha Male. I know she's with Alpha Male Associated. The coaches will be there. I don't know if she's training there every day, if she's back there yet. I know she was away for a little while. But yeah, decision, it's even money. I'll take it.
Yeah, don't blame me. I'm right there with you.
Okay, so let's build a quick parlay. We're looking at Sean O'Malley is somebody who I was thinking of putting in. And we don't have to make it so it's like 1 pick for you, 1 pick for me. It could just be that we both agree on the same people. I like O'Malley as putting him in there as a parlay piece. And where would you think we add another piece in? I'm taking a look right now. Initially, I was going on the prelims. I was looking at that big giant of a man in Spain, or however you say his name. But that could be a huge level check, and I don't know enough about that guy. He's brand new. I'm not touching it.
Let's double up here, man. Let's go O'Malley Barber.
Okay, I like it. O'Malley and Barber. I like that as a parlay. Oh, the other the one of the prop that I've added to my ticket was Almabayev. What are we looking at by decision rate or by submission right now?
What are your thoughts on the Peter Yan and Song Yudong total?
1 sec. Sorry, just looking at decision. Why am I not seeing TKO? +110. So Almabayev by submission. I pretty much think that's going to happen in that fight. I think it's a foregone conclusion. Would I have liked to have got it at a better price? Yes, it probably was about +120 before, but +110 by submission. That's going to be another one too. Now, sorry, the question again.
No, I'm with you. I was just asking, what are your thoughts on the Yan Sedong total? But I just looked at the price tags of the totals in that fight. It's just not parlayable, in my opinion.
No, chalked up.
Yeah, it's chalked up, bro. Pretty badly, actually.
Yeah, and you can't really mess with totals on a chalk situation. So, all right, so we're gonna go Macy Barber and O'Malley. What does that come to as far as the price tag?
-104.
I'm with it. I like it. I was sort of leaning that in my head. I was hoping you would say it. So I'm with that. I think we're both on the same side. And I like that better than you picking one and me picking one, where I'm sort of on it and whatever. That's sort of how it played last week. I think this is a more solidified parlay. So I like it. Macy Barber and Sean O'Malley. And I think Malott will probably be with it because that was 2 of his picks for the week. So I made fun of him because in reality, he just keeps picking his friends, but his friends keep winning. So it's like,
if you you gotta ride with you guys, right? Stick your guys, stick your gut is one of my favorite MMA sayings.
For Billy Briz, I am Callum McGregor. Tune into the Donttap podcast.
those guys are the ones who really do their homework.
Man, that's why I'm saying the rankings are bullshit.
From Canada.
Got a really high fight IQ.
But this fight, I'm telling you, it's a flip of a coin.
Levels to the shit.
So many high-level guys.
So like the line is crazy.
Oh, there we go. Oh, no, we're good. See, he's a pro.